If I could sit across from my younger self, I'd tell him the truth no one told me. You're chasing shadows. For decades, I ran after things the world told me were important. Money, recognition, success, even admiration. And while I was busy climbing ladders, I didn't realize they were leaning against the wrong walls. I sacrificed time I'll never get back. I overlooked the quiet beauty of life. Now, after years of reflection, I want to share what actually matters, so you don't waste as much of your life chasing what doesn't. This is the truth I learned too late. In my 20s and 30s, success had a clear picture in my mind. It looked like a big paycheck, a respected job title, a full calendar, and an apartment that made others say, wow. I thought if I had those things, I'd finally feel enough to be proud, enough to be accepted, enough to relax. So I pushed hard. I stayed late. I said yes to every opportunity that promised advancement. And for a while, it looked like it was working. But here's what no one told me. Success without balance costs more than it gives. I chased promotions while losing sleep. I worked weekends while skipping birthdays. I collected achievements but slowly drifted from the people I loved. I told myself, I'll make time for them later. But later is a dangerous word. Sometimes it never comes. The strange thing is, I didn't even stop to question why I was doing it. Everyone else seemed to be climbing, hustling, building, and I didn't want to fall behind. Society rewards the grinders, the overachievers, the ones who never stop. So I didn't. Until something broke. It wasn't dramatic. There was no sudden breakdown, no public collapse. It was quiet. A birthday I forgot. A weekend where I didn't know how to relax. A moment with my child, when I realized I didn't really know who they were becoming. That was the crack in the mirror. That's when I started to see the cost of my so-called success. What I was really chasing wasn't money. It was validation. I wanted to feel important. I wanted to feel worthy. I thought success would earn me love, admiration, and inner peace. But those things can't be bought or built. They must be nurtured, lived, and felt. And I was too busy doing to be feeling. Looking back, I see how much I misunderstood. The long nights, the constant striving, the endless pressure. It didn't lead to joy. It led to burnout and distance. What I thought mattered most actually mattered the least. And here's the hard truth. What the world praises in public often costs you deeply in private. If this sounds familiar, I urge you, pause. Take inventory. Ask yourself who you're becoming while chasing success, because one day you may realize, like I did, that you've been running the wrong race. I didn't wake up one day suddenly enlightened. The realization crept in slowly, often painfully, through moments I couldn't ignore. It started with a conversation, one I barely remember now, where my daughter asked me why I was always busy. At the time, I brushed it off, but it lingered. A few weeks later, I forgot our weekend plans. She didn't cry, she just said it's okay, with the kind of smile people wear when they've learned not to expect much. That was the first crack. Then came a health scare. Nothing life-threatening, but enough to make me sit in a cold fluorescent hospital room for hours thinking, what if? And when I looked back, all I saw was stress, meetings, deadlines, but so few real memories. The truth is, life doesn't shout when it's trying to get your attention. It whispers, and I'd ignored those whispers for years. I began to realize how much of my life was running on autopilot. I didn't choose joy, I scheduled it. I didn't nurture relationships, I postponed them. I didn't live, I performed. Everything I did had a goal, a metric, a purpose, except peace. I looked around and noticed the people I admired most weren't the richest or most recognized. They were the ones who laughed freely, who listened more than they spoke, who had deep friendships, strong families, and quiet confidence. They hadn't just chased success, they'd chosen meaning. It was humbling. I realized how far I'd drifted from the things that truly mattered. I had neglected friendships because they didn't feel productive. I had lost moments with my kids I would never get back. I had ignored my health in the name of hustle. I had given my best energy to people who wouldn't remember my name 5 years later. The biggest wake-up call wasn't an event, it was a shift in my awareness. I finally saw that much of what I thought was urgent wasn't, and what I treated as optional, love, rest, joy, was actually essential. This wasn't just about regret, it was about responsibility. I couldn't rewrite the past, but I could stop the bleeding. I could choose a different story going forward, and I did. I started having real conversations again, awkward at first, but healing. I started taking walks without headphones, letting my thoughts breathe. I started saying no to things that didn't matter so I could say yes to the ones that did. Here's what I learned. It's never too late to wake up, but the longer you wait, the more you lose. Don't let life teach you through loss what it could teach you through awareness. After the chasing, the burnout, and the quiet moments of reckoning, I began asking a new question. What truly matters when everything else is stripped away? The answer didn't come from books or podcasts. It came from stillness, from watching the sunrise while holding a coffee in silence. It came from listening, really listening to someone I once thought I didn't have time for. It came from remembering who I was before the world told me who I should be. And what I discovered was this: very little matters, but what matters, matters deeply. Here's what I'd never trade now. 1. Time with people I love. Not in passing, not as an obligation, but with intention. Conversations with no phone in sight. Dinners where no one's rushing. Holding hands, laughing until your chest hurts. These are the moments that echo. When you're old, you won't remember the meetings. You'll remember the birthdays you showed up for. 2. Health, physical and mental. It's easy to ignore your body when you're young, to skip rest, ignore stress, eat fast, and push through pain. But now I know, if you don't take care of your health, you'll eventually spend all your money, time, and energy trying to get it back. I wouldn't trade one clear, pain-free morning for 1,000 likes or dollars. 3. Purpose. Not career success, not status, but waking up and knowing that you're living aligned with something greater than ego. Whether it's being a good parent, helping others, creating something meaningful, or simply showing up with kindness, purpose gives your life weight. Without it, even luxury feels empty. 4. Presence. It sounds simple, but being fully here, in this moment, is the hardest thing I had to relearn. I used to live either in regret or anticipation, rarely in now. But peace lives in the present. Joy lives in the present. And presence isn't just good for you, it's the greatest gift you can give the people around you. 5. Simplicity. The older I got, the more I realized more isn't better, it's just more. Clutter steals clarity. Complexity creates stress. Now I choose fewer commitments, fewer distractions, fewer obligations, but richer meaning in all of them. I once thought that success, admiration, and accumulation would fulfill me, but I was wrong. The things that fill your heart are rarely the things that fill your calendar. So if you're younger, hear me. You don't have to lose everything to learn this. You don't need decades of regret to value what's right in front of you. What matters isn't loud, it's quiet. It's not urgent, it's essential. And it's not later, it's now.